Well, welcome to this lesson on synthesizing, and I think you're going to be delighted by this particular topic. We've covered keyboarding, gathering, comprehending, evaluating, and now we're on synthesizing, which is to combine things together to produce something. So at this point, the students, they've learned how to type, in part. Some will still hut and peck. That's okay, keep them moving. They've learned how to gather information. They've learned how to understand the information they gather, and they've learned how to challenge that information by checking to see if it has proper authorship, if the information is accurate, if it's fresh content. That's evaluating. And they begin to actually evaluate one another's work. They're talking to one another. Okay, this particular skill set really is at the heart of research. And that is, I mean, even at the top levels of universities and public policy think tanks, they start out by doing what are called literature reviews. It's a really technical term for go find all the information you can about the topic at hand. It's really gathering. And then they seek to understand it, pull out information that's critical, that's relevant, and they evaluate it. This is good, this is not good. This should be in the final report. This should not be in the final report. But you know, the secret sauce of research that excites is really the part of synthesizing. And that is taking what you've found and formulated and actually coming up with a position, a stance, a bottom line, where you basically say in like one sentence, this is what I am stating. This is my position on this topic. This is the solution to the problem. This is the call to action based on the evidence. And so basically this matter of synthesizing is going to be probably the most advanced capability that you'll be instilling into the students. And then summarizing, which is the next lesson, well, the next lesson is still on synthesizing, but the next step is summarizing. It's really just giving the main points of what you've synthesized. Okay, you'll understand this as we go. Basically, the objective of this lesson is to learn how to teach your students to synthesize information by taking a position on a particular topic. That is, forming a persuasive argument and using evidence to support that position. Okay, if you're a math teacher, you may be thinking, well, this is just English literacy stuff. You know, maybe reading about politics and taking a side of stance on air quality, for say, or should we use the budget with regard to this aspect of education or healthcare, etc. No, even if you're a math teacher, this matter of providing supporting evidence is absolutely critical. In fact, you know, I work at a company called Rand Corporation, and one of the things that we highlight is that we don't take positions or stances politically. We just look at the numbers. And so the matter of getting data and statistics and then looking at what the data says is some of the most powerful synthesizing that can be done. It cuts through some very sticky situations. So step one, support evidence by statistics. There was a study that was done in 1970 and they looked at the air quality in China. Okay, that can be a sticky situation because if you're in China, it's a beloved country to you. And yet, if a report is done about the air quality, you might want to say, like us in Los Angeles, who also have air quality problems, you might want to say, you know what, our air quality is good. But in 1970, a study came out that showed that over 500,000 people were dying prematurely because of poor air quality. Well, that number is huge. And being able to use that number to support a position, and maybe position is not quite the right word, but we're going to use it, but to support a statement is very critical. Also, step 2, support evidence by quotes. Okay, so all of these 3 points are going to be, what are 3 things that you use as supporting evidence toward your statement, stance, topic, hypothesis? Use quotes. So for instance, the National Institute of Health basically has this statement on their site: major depressive disorder is the leading cause of disability in the U.S. for ages 15 through 44. Okay, well, you're quoting it from the site. It's listed right there. I put it in quotes. That's the URL. And then lastly, you can support evidence by example stories. Stories, you know, in the 21st century, college and workplace environments, stories can be really powerful. You know, statistics and quotes, they're more hard and dry, and they're great. But you know, there's a lot of situations that they either come into the legal court realm, they either come in political circles, or they're on teams that are, you know, they're highly polarized. Well, sometimes a story helps in that example. Just to come in with something like, you know what, we're in this situation, let me tell you a story about this particular person. It really helps bring a sense of unity at times. And so this is a little example, a story of Gandhi's biography, or Martin Luther King. They were people who fought for freedom while being kind to their fellow man and taking a non-violent route. Okay, some of you who are experts in literature and background, you know, you might know the details of these men more, and you're probably evaluating, analyzing, and even synthesizing my teaching with regard to that example. But, excellent, by the way. But my point is, use these 3 points to support evidence: statistics, quotes, and stories. Okay, I want you to do something that's really fun, because I think there's some of you who are teachers of kindergartners or first graders or second graders or third, and you're thinking, this process is too difficult at this level. Watch this TED Talk and you'll be convinced that it's not too difficult. We'll end here. Thank you so much.